So it all begins with the humble wine glass. So a little wine glass anatomy will be helpful. This top part is the bowl. This long, thin part is the stem. And this big flat bottom part is called the foot. So in essence, this is a glass bell. And the way that bells work is you put energy into it, a broad frequency of range of frequencies, and the bell suppresses all but the musical ones, which is really pretty amazing. So the geometry of the bell matters. So although this one has roughly the same size, the rim is about 2.5 times thicker. Sings considerably higher. And of course, bigger bells have lower sound. So it's essential that the wine glass be thin enough that it can vibrate. Here I have a beer schooner, which is, you'd think, bell-shaped, but it's so thick that the walls can't vibrate. Thud. We're never going to get a musical sound out of it. Also, the material that you use matters. So I have a plastic one here, which you can see is about the same size as the other ones. Okay, up plastic, all right. So you see we get no sound out of it. There's something magic about the wet finger on the wine glass. So another way to put energy into a wine glass, besides hitting it, is with a bow. And when you play it with the wet finger around the rim, that's exactly what you're doing. Your finger is basically acting like a little bow, and you're bowing the rim of the glass. So you have to get the speed and pressure right. There's a knack to it. It takes a little practice. So you also don't need water in the bowl, but it does change the pitch. So roughly the range you can get out of a wine glass is a third, which is from do to mi, as in do, re, mi. So here it is, the lower end, and if I dump the water back out. It's really cool. So I would strongly recommend to you budding GlassArmonica players that you first start with a wine glass. So go to the dollar store, it usually has some, and make sure that when you wrap it with your knuckle that it will sing. And if so, then you'll be able to do the wet finger around the wine glass. So you do have to get the pressure and the speed right, and I would really suggest that you be able to do that on a reasonably consistent basis, because this is exactly what you're doing on an harmonica, only it's a little harder on the harmonica still. So you'll save yourself a lot of grief if you just start with this first and get the feel of it and an idea of what the pressure and the speed needs to be. So when you're trying this, be sure to hold it by the stem, not the bowl. If you hold it by the bowl, the glass can't vibrate. And not a chance. You have to hold it down on the stem so the glass can vibrate. I just have to add that one of the first people to investigate the wet finger around the wine glass idea was Galileo. Galileo's father was a famous musician of his day, so Galileo received a thorough musical education as a youngster. After his publications on astronomy, arguing that the sun was the center of the solar system and not the earth, he was placed under house arrest and forbidden to publish any more books. But being Galileo, he wrote another book and managed to get it published anyway, called Two New Sciences. This book is mostly about moving and falling objects in general and introducing ideas like inertia, thus laying important groundwork for modern physics. Meanwhile, in this book, Galileo devotes several pages to the wet finger around the wine glass idea, but just a single glass. One would think that with his genius and his musical upbringing that he would have thought of having a set of water-tuned glasses and playing tunes on them. My theory is that, at the time, a single wine glass was still so expensive that the idea of having a set of them and playing tunes on them was simply unimaginable. Just my theory.